The CN Tower stands right next door to the Rogers Center, where this afternoon the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim will take on the Toronto Blue Jays, trying to sweep the three-game series. Right-hander Erwin Santana will go to the mound for Mike Scioscia. Left-hander Ricky Romero coming off his career-best start last time out against the White Sox. That's the pitching matchup here this afternoon at the Rogers Center. Hello, everybody. I'm Buck Martinez, and with me is my partner, Rance Molyneux. And Rance, when the Angels got to town on Friday night, there was a lot of concern about the starting pitching. Well, they're still talking about the starting pitching, but right now they're singing the praises of Jared Weaver and Joe Saunders.
Jared Weaver and Joe Saunders have been outstanding, and it's really turned this pitching staff around, at least for the first two games of this series. Look at these numbers. 5.88 team ERA coming in. It's 1.20 in this series, and the big reason for that number, less than 1 walk per 9 innings pitched. They've made a lot of quality pitches, and they've pounded the strike zone.
The Angels have a good rotation, and they have guys up and down the order that can pitch good games. Erwin Santana, the right-hander, his ERA almost 7, off to a slow start. Ricky Romero, 1-0 on the season, coming off his best start of his young career. 8 innings of one-hit ball with 12 strikeouts.
He has been phenomenally something special in his first 2 starts, and his last one gave up just that 1 hit. He did it with a great curveball. Here he strikes out Beckham, locks up Ramirez, and it would strike out Andrew Jones with a great overhand curveball. He also had a great changeup, great command. He's really turning into something special very quickly.
When you get starts like that, you don't need much offense, but the offense for the Jays has struggled a bit. Despite the fact they're hitting 17 home runs, that leads the American League, and they're 6th in runs scored. It's been 3 guys in the offense that have done most of the damage. They need to have more production from the entire lineup if they're going to really hit their full stride.
Yes, Gonzalez, Lind, and Wells are tearing it up, but you see what the rest of the lineup is doing right here. Average of 172, 5 home runs, 26 RBIs. They really need to start having a little more depth in that lineup if they're going to be able to put some innings together and score some runs.
Well, Fred Lewis is in the leadoff spot tonight. He brings some speed, and maybe he's going to spark the offense a bit. For more on Lewis, let's go down on the field to Sam Cosentino.
And Bucky will play right here in left field. Fred Lewis getting the start. He does have a history of swinging at the first pitch, and when he has done so, he's fared well. 474, 3 home runs, and 9 RBI. We'll keep an eye on Fred Lewis to see if that trend continues here today against Erwin Santana.
Bob Lewis has a chance to spark the offense with his bat and with his legs. He can run, and he's a guy that Cito Gaston is anxious to see play his first game here today at the Rogers Center. The Jays offense needs more balance. Some of these guys are going to have to step up. John Bucks had a big home run, but not consistent. Travis Snyder the same way. They've got to have contributions up and down the order to win this game today. 5-7 on the season. Eric Ibar leads it off. Howie Kendrick with another big day yesterday. 3 for 5, a home run, 3 RBIs, and he scored 3 runs. Bobby Abreu returns to the lineup in the 3rd spot. He takes Torrey Hunter's place. Torrey Hunter gets the day off. Matsui's the DH. Morales Rivera. Jeff Mathis is back behind the plate starting today. Brandon Woods the 3rd, and Reggie Willits, who made that strong throw in the game yesterday, is in center field. They'll face Ricky Romero.
Ricky Romero comes into this ball game this afternoon on quite a roll. 1 win, 1.80 ERA, and as we all know, he was outstanding in his last start, a one-hitter against the Chicago White Sox, striking out 8. And a big key for him this year so far is he's been able to throw strikes. 15 innings of work. He's walked just 4 hitters. Ricky Romero, a fastball, 87-88 to 92. Outstanding curve and change. And the key for him is just continue what he's done so far. He's had excellent command. If he has that again here this afternoon, he's going to be a tough opponent for these Angels. Defensively for the Jays this afternoon, Lewis with his first start as a Jay in left field, Wells in center, Snyder in right, Bautista at 3rd, Gonzalez at short, McDonald at 2nd, Overbay at 1st. John Buck will do the catching, and Ricky Romero the pitching this afternoon. John McDonald at 2nd base. Of course, he played 3rd in yesterday's ball game. He can play 3rd, he can play short, and he can play 2nd, all at a Gold Glove level. He's a very valuable part of this ball club and a great defender.
Making his 6th start at 2nd base as Aaron Hill is still on the disabled list. Eric Ibar will start things off. Takes the ball down for ball 1. Ibar in the leadoff spot. Sean Figgins, the former leadoff hitter here for the Angels, left to free agency. Ibar has taken over. Ball 2.
And although he walked 30 times last year in 137 ball games, we have seen, Buck, that early on Friday night, Saturday, and so far in this first at bat today, he's really making a conscious effort to try to see some pitches work the count.
Yeah, it's a fine line. You don't want him to lose his aggressiveness, but at the same time, in the leadoff spot, you'd like him to work the count. 2 balls and no strikes. There's a fastball in there. Romero has had 2 distinctly different starts, his first 2 starts of the season. Against the Rangers, he threw a lot of sinking fastballs and changeups. Last time out, the curveball was great. There's a fastball to center field. Routine play for Vernon Wells. And Ibar's retired. I think Romero understands that if one particular pitch isn't working, he doesn't have to panic. He's got a lot of weapons out there.
Oftentimes a young pitcher, if a particular pitch, especially a curveball or changeup's not working, as you said, they do panic a little bit once in a while.
Howie Kendrick takes a strike. We mentioned Kendrick's home run. That came in the 1st inning after Ibar walked. A high pitch from Brian Talent. It's his first home run of the season, and it got the Angels off and running early. Swinging a one-hopper, gloved by Bautista. 2 down. Another ball right on the button for Howie Kendrick.
He has centered it up the entire series, but an outstanding defensive play by Bautista at 3rd base. The ball was hit very hard, and he really had to battle it. This ball was smoked, and it was a tough hop for him to handle. You can see him jump. Looked like he caught it with the heel of his glove. Nice play.
Checking his body parts to make sure he's okay. 2 outs for Abreu. There's a strike. Abreu got the day off yesterday. He is back in his familiar right field today, albeit hitting in the 3rd spot. 2 down, 1st inning. Good breaking ball. That's a good sign early on. That hook's there already. Wouldn't get him to chase. Abreu, one of the consistent players of all time, not only for his ability to stay in the lineup every day, but what he delivers. 100 walks, 100 RBIs, 300 just about every year. The breaking ball down this time.
Yeah, last year, for the 7th consecutive year, Bobby Abreu drove in 100 or more runs.
And he still runs. 2-2 pitch to Abreu. Off the glove and back to the screen. Abreu is the only active player with a 300 career batting average, a 400 career on base percentage, 200 homers, and 250 stolen bases. The perfect combination of patience, power, and speed. Full count on Abreu. 2 outs. Got him. Ricky Romero off to a good start. Fred Lewis will get his first at bat as a starter. He'll start things off bottom of the first. Wells, Lyle Overbay, and Jose Bautista, followed by John Buck, Travis Snyder, and John McDonald. Glenn is one of the 3 guys that's been hot, but they're going to get a chance to turn things around against Erwin Santana here, making his 4th career start at the Rogers Center.
Erwin Santana, another one of these Angels pitchers coming into this series that has really struggled so far. Most of that due to the fact that he has had very poor command.
Fred Lewis starts things off. Takes a first pitch strike. Lewis has predominantly been a leadoff hitter throughout his career. He was acquired in a deal with the San Francisco Giants and arrived here on Friday night. Jammed on the ground, right side. Howie Kendrick to first, and Lewis is retired.
Defensively this afternoon, the Angels will set it up like this. It'll be Rivera in left. Willits will play center. Abreu in right. Wood at third. Ibar at short. Kendrick at second. Morales at first. Mathis back behind the plate. And Ervin Santana will do the pitching. And that man right there is a dynamic defender behind the plate. Friday night he made a couple of plays that really had a significant impact, Buck, on the outcome of that ball game.
Yeah, he threw out Adam Lind at third base. It was first and second, nobody out. Jays in the middle of their order, and a ball in the dirt. He pounced on and made a great throw off balance to nail Lind at third. Gonzalez with 1 out, and Santana steps off. Yesterday afternoon, Mike Napoli did a heck of a job behind the plate. Blocked many balls in the dirt and cut down Gonzalez at the plate. Half swing. Darrell Cousins, the crew chief down at first, said he went too far. Good start for Alex Gonzalez. 4 homers, 7 doubles to go along with that .333 average. 0-2. Struck him out. Good breaking ball down and away to Alex Gonzalez.
You got to look at the slider that Santana possesses. It is just at times unhittable. Throws it very hard. A lot of good downward tilt. It's an outstanding arm.
Adam Lynn, we mentioned his good home stand with 6 runs driven in. Ball is upstairs.
You know, Santana last year spent a couple of stints on the disabled list with some elbow problems, and his velocity was down a little bit, but it's back this year up to 93, 94, 95.
Back in there with a strike. Last time out against the Yankees and Andy Pettitte. Allowed 5 runs on 8 hits in 5 2/3. Control was a problem. He walked 5 in that game. Swinging a ground ball to shortstop. Ibar. Quick inning for Santana. Both pitchers off to a good start. Both 1, 2, 3 first innings were scoreless after 1 inning here at the Rogers Center. To back that up here in his second full season, off to a decent start.
Yes, he is. In 15 innings of work so far in 2 starts, allowed just 6 hits, 16 strikeouts, and he's walked only 4. And he is really starting to turn into the pitcher that they've always felt he could be.
Out in front of Hideki Matsui, the DH. Matsui 1 for 4 with an RBI double in yesterday's game. Fastball, cut that fastball away from Matsui, and he's out in front 0-2.
And the turnaround began last year in spring training when they just made a slight adjustment to his delivery. That front foot, he was landing a little too closed, and they opened that up a little bit, and everything really fell into place for Romero.
0-2 pitch outside. What does that do for a pitcher to give yourself that freedom to get over that front side?
Well, it will allow the hips and the legs as you fire through to fire through more easily, so you can really get through and let your arm get through with your delivery, whereas if you throw across your body, it can be very difficult to be able to use your hips where they can really unwind and create that good arm speed and get clear.
It all gets back to the legs for pitchers and for position players. 2-2 to Matsui. Missed away 3-2.
It's one of the things that's so unusual about Jared Weaver is how across his body he throws, but it works for him and is very effective, but not the way you would teach it necessarily.
Matsui leading off the second. Full count. Swing and drives it towards center. Should be an easy play for Wells. One out. Romero's retired 4 straight. Jared Weaver, great outing here in the series opener on Friday night. 7 strong innings as he gave up the leadoff home run to Randy Ruiz to start the 8th, and then they took him out of the game. But Jays were really behind him all night long. Kendry Morales, the switch hitter, batting right-handed. Swings at the first pitch right off the plate. This is going to be a tough play. Romero gloves it and throws the first in time. What a good play by Ricky Romero.
Well, Ricky Romero, is a very good athlete, and you get a good look at his athleticism on this play. Very difficult play. Had to break back behind the mound on this high chopper, and if he doesn't make the play, Morales is going to have himself a base hit over the shoulder catch, and then sets himself in a good accurate throw to Overbay at first base.
Really did a good job of gathering himself before he threw. Now he's got to catch his breath and work to Rivera. 2 down here in the second. We're scoreless. In there with a strike. Yeah, no telling where that ball goes if it hits one more time on the turf, and I doubt that an infielder would have been able to make that play. Rivera with a home run in yesterday's game. Swings and hits it to the right side. Travis Snyder now back on the warning track, but he's got plenty of room and makes the catch. Ricky Romero again off to a good start. 6 up, 6 down.
A lot of mistakes in the strike zone that have gotten hit very hard.
Brandon Wells will step in to start the second. Wells batting .372. That's good for 6th in the American League. He's second in home runs and second in runs scored as well. On the ground, left side. Ibar to Morales, 1 out. Eric Ibar, great range, strong arm, a lot of confidence. He made a couple of good defensive plays last night, including that pickoff play at second when he threw down his left knee and blocked the path of Mike McCoy. One out here into second. Lyle Overbay starting to show signs that things may be turning around. RBI double in the ninth. Hit the ball well 3 times yesterday.
Yes, his last 3 at-bats in yesterday's ball game, he did a very nice job of letting the ball travel a little bit and get a little bit deeper into the strike zone, and it paid off for him with that double in his last at-bat.
Breaking ball inside 1-1.
You know, Ervin Santana is interesting. He's not the ace of this staff for the Angels, but he most certainly has #1 type stuff. And if he gets on track, based upon how Jared Weaver pitched on Friday, Saunders yesterday, they can get this turned around very quickly.
Well, they don't have John Lackey any longer. He was truly the ace of this staff, but Joel Pinheiro has come on to add some depth to their rotation. Breaking ball down. All about pitching and defense for the Angels. That's what they look to first, and then they build around that. One out here in the second. 2-2 pitch to Overbay. Outside corner. Santana gets his second strikeout. He gets Overbay looking.
Just a perfect pitch right on the outside corner. Here's a Overbay. Might have thought that ball was off the plate, but Santana gets the call.
2 down now for Santana. He'll face Jose Bautista. Takes the ball away. Bautista really hasn't gotten it going at the plate just yet. Ball 2. Came out of spring training the hottest of Blue Jay hitters. Just hasn't been able to maintain that great stroke. Two and 0. Comes with the breaking ball in there. It happens so quickly. You start playing the games and you get 4 or 5 at bats every single night. And if things aren't going well, boy, the ABs and the offers will add up. Swinging a drive to the center field. Reggie Willis on the move. He will make a play. It hits at the bottom of the wall, and Bautista delivers his 4th double, a 2-out double to the wall in center field.
Bautista showed late in the year last September. If he gets a chance to play, he has some pop in his bat, and he really drove this baseball, a 2-1 fastball middle in, and he jumped all over it, driving it to the base of the wall in center field.
No, he's on board with 2 down now.
And they really need Overbay and Bautista, a few other guys other than Len, Wells, and Gonzalez to start to hit, so you have some depth in the lineup.
John Buck swings at the first pitch and misses.
Where you get down to that 6th, 7th, and 8th hitter, you have the ability to score some runs.
Well, you've got to put pressure on the pitcher. You've got to get base runners on and continue to put the pressure on him, and you'd like it to happen before you get to 2 outs. Buck swings and pulls it to third. Brandon Wood. A 2-out double, but Jose Bautista is stranded. We've played 2 here at the Rogers Center. No scoring. 7, 8, 9. Jeff Mathis, Brandon Wood, and Reggie Willits. But before we go, we have to welcome in a very special guest. And what a surprise.
Hi.
Our old pal, Dan Shulman.
How are you?
Now
Good
everything is right in the world.
Oh, yeah. How are you, Rance? Good to see you. That ring
Good to
looks
see
nice.
you. Thank you.
That ring looks nice.
I am surprised to see you, given so many assignments
I
you
know.
have to deal with at this time of the
I
year.
know. I actually, hang on, can't talk over a pitch.
To third base, fair ball. Bautista knocks it down. Strong throw in time to get Mathis. What a play by Jose Bautista as he stayed with it, knocked it down, got it into foul territory, and used that cannon for an arm to throw out the catcher.
The play-by-play guy's pretty good.
Yes, he is. He's actually very good.
I had a good teacher.
Here we get another look at this great defensive play by Bautista, and here's where the strong arm really pays off. Didn't even have time to really set himself, but because of the arm strength, was able to record the out.
There's a fastball in there to Brandon Wood, strike one. I thought you'd be somewhere doing a game. Or
I was, and I will be. I did an NBA game yesterday in Atlanta, flew home last night, and then I'm flying out tonight to New York. I got the Mets and Cubs tomorrow, so what do I do on my off day?
Come
to a baseball game.
Yeah, but I know we're able to bring your son and his pals,
Yes.
so that's what it's big about.
Yes, Ben and his buddies are here.
That's awesome. 1-1 to Wood in there for strike two. I'm really sorry, and I know you probably feel the same way. We didn't get a chance to do that Cardinals-Mets game last night.
Oh, boy. What 20 innings. You know what it reminded me of? And I'm sure you were on the game. I don't think it was when I was with Tabby. There was a Friday night game, and Ben, my youngest, was a baby, and we did a game here. Scotty would remember. It went 19 innings or something like that.
The Yankee game, wasn't it?
It was a Yankee game. You're right.
Yeah.
And Ben was a baby, woke up in the middle of the night, and Sarah, my wife, didn't know where I was.
Where was Danny?
And so what did she do at 1:30 in the morning? She called the cops to find out why I wasn't home, because I'm such a responsible guy.
You
How
are.
could I not be home? And
something must have happened.
And the cops had the game on TV. So
he's still working.
Yeah.
1-2 to Brandon Wood. Strike three. Ricky Romero with his second strikeout. Sunday night baseball tonight on Rogers Sportsnet will be the Mets and the Cardinals, and there are a whole bunch of baseball players are happy that it is an 8 p.m. Eastern time start, given the fact they played 6 hours and 25 minutes last night.
Bet you Yadier Molina doesn't play tonight.
2 outs for the number 9 hitter, Reggie Willits, and he takes it outside.
You ever play 20 innings in a game as a catcher?
I never played 20 innings in a week. Ball 2. So you wind down with the NBA.
Yeah, three, 4 more weeks.
Yeah, and then you'll have a regular
and then just
gig
baseball.
with ESPN.
Yeah, then just baseball. So the Monday night game. Right now, I'm working with Aaron Boone and Chris Singleton. We're also going to have Nomar Garciaparra with us sometimes. Oral Hershiser's now on the Sunday night game with John Miller and Joe Morgan. And it's all good. It's a lot of fun. A little radio here and there, but mostly just TV and a little more relaxed schedule during the summer months.
We've seen 3 different occasions where pitchers have flirted with a no-hitter, but last night Ubaldo Jimenez threw a no-hitter. Willis takes ball 4. You've seen Jimenez before. I guess this doesn't surprise you that he's capable of doing something like that.
No, especially doing it on the road, obviously. A lot easier than doing it in Colorado. But we talk about starters who can throw 97, 98 miles an hour. It's a short list, and he's on that list. And it's funny because I did the NBA game in Atlanta, and we drove by the ballpark on the way to the airport last night. Lights are on. The game was in the 5th or 6th inning. Of course, we had no way of knowing what was going on until I landed back here in Toronto and saw that he'd thrown a no-hitter. But they got an exciting team. They've got a real chance in that division.
Yeah, they are, it's unfortunate that Jeff Francis went down with his injury, but I understand he's starting to throw again. They might get him back. There are 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd. Reggie Willits, a threat to run at first, 2 outs.
Hey, can I tell a quick Rance Mullenix story?
Of course.
So Aaron Boone is working on the games with me, and we were all talking about the teams we used to watch and the players we used to follow. And Aaron Boone tells me that his dad, Bob Boone, great catcher, you played against him for many years. When I mentioned your name, Aaron Boone said, he's the one guy my dad told me we couldn't game plan for. We couldn't figure out how to get Rance Mullenix out. You must have given the Angels fits back
That's
then.
what happens when you deal with a confused mind.
They
were expecting me to think normally.
He said that his dad, and how long did Bob Boone catch for? 15, 18 years? Long time. 20 years
yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
And he said that you were the one guy his dad could never figure out.
I don't know what that says about his dad, but
now Ricky Romero is out in front of Eric Ibar with 2 outs here. We're scoreless in the series finale here. Look back at Willis and get him back there. Willis doesn't have a steal yet, but he's always a threat to run. You like the Angels, Dan?
I do. I mean, obviously they've lost some things from last year, but big supporter of Mike Scioscia and the culture that they've got there in Anaheim. They'll find a way.
0-2 pitch to Ibar in the dirt, gets away from John Buck, and Willis is on the move. That ball goes into the dugout, so he'll stop at second.
How do you like him play-by-play? You sound great. You sound comfortable.
You know what? It's fun. And, of course, you and I have had conversations, and Jim Houston and I have had conversations, and Sean McDonough and I. And the one thing that is true, and I found that out already, you don't have to talk a lot.
Yeah, the pictures.
Yeah, the pictures.
The camera guys are doing a heck of a job.
We've got good camera people,
yeah.
that's for sure. But there's a lot to just sit back and watch and enjoy with the fans.
That's good.
But I appreciate your advice. A ball and 2 strikes. Fouled at the plate. So you get home to Toronto. And this is always going to be home, no matter what.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
And you get a chance to keep up with your boys and their sports
yeah.
and their music
yeah.
and everything else.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. This little guy, these are 2 hockey buddies of his. These are members of the Vaughan Panthers, the city champion Vaughan Panthers.
The city champion
if I may say so. I'm supposed to say that up here. They're wearing their championship hats and everything for this occasion.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, these are some hockey guys, and now I'm coaching baseball, which kind of terrifies me because you know what I've discovered even at the 9-year-old level? It's moving a lot faster when you're down there than when you're up here. And as the third base coach, I am terrified of the trouble I'm going to get my players into this summer. I'll get guys picked off and all kinds of stuff. So.
Stop and go, don't go up to the same time.
And I think we're only going to have 3 signs, but I'm more worried about me remembering them than the kids remembering them. But it's great. This will always be home, and I love the work I do, but Toronto's always going to be where we live.
Well, we all love the work you do, that's for sure. Both sides of the border. 1-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. 3 strikeouts. Ricky Romero is retired. Ibar to end the second. And Dan, thank you so much.
Thanks,
great to
guys.
see you. And all
too.
the best.
Have a great season. We'll see you again.
Begin indeed, April 26th, when the Red Sox are here to take on the Blue Jays, the Jays Care Foundation auction, and you can participate. It all begins at 6:30 on Monday, April 26th. Travis Snyder will bat here to start the third. Santana jumps out in front with a strike. Both pitchers have allowed just a single base runner. Santana 0-2. Santana gave up a 2-out double to Jose Bautista. Jay's third baseman hit it to the base of the wall in center. Swing on the ground. Morales has it. He'll take it himself. Snyder's retired.
Both pitchers so far here this afternoon have worked very quickly and very efficiently.
Well, certainly the Angels starters have been good throughout this series. Ricky Romero has been good every time he's towed the rubber this year. The Angels will go home, begin a homestand, a 4-day homestand. Tigers in first. Then the Yankees follow them for 3, and then the Cleveland Indians are in to wrap up that long homestand. John McDonald starting at second base again this afternoon. Takes a strike from Erwin Santana. Broken back to third. Wood to Morales. 2 outs. Brandon Wood, back at third base, was charged with 2 errors in the 3rd inning in yesterday's game. That led to 2 unearned runs, the only runs that Joe Saunders allowed. But he's right back in there today. Fred Lewis will bat for a second time, making his first start with the Jays. Takes the ball down. Lewis, throughout his young career, has hit mostly in the leadoff spot. Take advantage of his speed. For his career, a .349 on-base percentage when he is hitting leadoff. Fair ball inside the bag at first base. That'll go down the right field line. Lewis around first. Breezes into second base. His first hit as a Blue Jay is a 2-out double.
It looked like a hard breaking ball down and in from Santana. And he just goes down and digs it out and hits it hard just inside the bag at first base. And eases into second, no problem with a double. You know, Freddie Lewis is interesting. It's been a number of years since the Jays have really had what you would call a leadoff or prototypical type leadoff hitter. Someone with speed at the top of the lineup that can steal some bases.
Alex Gonzalez takes a first pitch strike.
And if he gets that bat to going and starts swinging it well, getting aboard, you might see him in the lineup quite often in that leadoff spot. The opportunity may be there for Freddie Lewis.
Ooh, got crossed out. Looked like Mathis was expecting a different pitch and looked like he got fooled, but was able to catch it.
Well, he's so good defensively. He's almost like having a middle infielder behind the plate. He's so quick.
Really stays on his feet even when he's blocking balls in the dirt, and that's why he's so quick. 1-1 count to Gonzalez. Fred Lewis at second. Goes after a breaking ball, and there's Mathis again blocking that hard breaking ball in the dirt. It's really got to help the pitchers and their confidence to snap off that good breaking ball.
There's no question about it. Late in the game on Friday, with a runner at third base, Jared Weaver bounced that breaking ball a couple of times, and that's exactly what he was trying to do with it, but he had such confidence in Mathis to keep it in front of him. He didn't hesitate to go to it.
Got a piece of it to stay alive. Jays today 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position. They're now 3 for 16 in the series. Angels, on the other hand, 8 for 18 so far in the first 2 games of this series. 1-2 count on Alex Gonzalez. 2 outs. No, 2-2.
And with Alex Gonzalez, it looks like Santana wants to try and make him hit that good hard breaking ball. He's had a steady diet of that pitch in this at bat.
Kind of interesting with Adam Lind on deck, a left-handed batter. You think he might be a little more aggressive.
Well, he struck Alex Gonzalez out with a breaking ball in his first at bat.
There goes Lewis to third, no throw. He steals it easily. Santana more focused on Gonzalez, forgot about Fred Lewis. He has his first steal.
Well, no chance for Mathis. Just a great jump off of second base, and of course with his speed into third base easily. So you're getting a look early at what Fred Lewis can do for this ball club.
3-2 pitch. Santana will work out of the stretch. Struck him out, went upstairs, and Santana strands a runner for a second time this afternoon. Good fastball goes upstairs to strike out Gonzalez. We're still scoreless.
Farm report, we referred to the 3 players acquired in the Roy Halladay trade. Brett Wallace off to a huge start in Las Vegas with 4 home run and 5 RBI. Kyle Drabeck, 2 starts, a 1-1 record. The first one was extremely good. And Travis d'Arnaud, high average and good power numbers in A-ball with Dunedin. So things looking bright for the 3 players acquired in the Roy Halladay deal.
Always good to start your season on a positive note. Brett Wallace, AAA with Las Vegas, doing a good job. Las Vegas off to a 7-2 start.
I have one question, though. How do you have 10 doubles, 4 home runs, and 5 RBIs? Nobody must be getting on base.
4 home runs and 5 ribbies. You'd think it would go 10 doubles, especially if somebody score ahead of one of those doubles every once in a while. Brad Mills, Brett Cecil, all throwing the ball well. Robert Ray as well, off to a 1-0 start. Good pitching as well. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Howie Kendrick, leading off the 4th. Ricky Romero, only batter to reach base, was walked. The number 9 hitter, Reggie Willis, with 2 out in the 3rd. Right in on his fists. You sense a certain measure of confidence looking at Ricky Romero standing on the rubber.
Pitching with a tremendous amount of confidence. Very relaxed, trusts his ability and his stuff.
Looked like he tried to cut that ball on the back side, backdoor cutter. 3-2 count to Howie Kendrick. We're scoreless here in the 4th. Foul ball. John Buck couldn't hold on to it.
And he's really matured as a pitcher. You could see it. He just seemed to get a little bit better and build on his success last year, and that most certainly is carried over here in the early part of the 2010 campaign. But yeah, he realizes now if a changeup's not working.
To the hole it should. Gonzalez quickly on the fly, not in time. Kendrick just outran them. Good stop by Gonzalez. That ball took him to the hole deep, and he just couldn't get enough on the throw. Infield base hit, first hit for the Angels.
A tremendous effort by Alex Gonzalez. He had ranging far to his right, sliding up very quickly, and just unable to get enough on that throw. Kendrick, who runs pretty well, beats it out easily for an infield hit. It's funny, some of the hardest balls that Kendrick has hit in this series have been for outs, and he's had a broken bat single, now an infield hit. Of course, he homered yesterday.
Bobby Abreu bunts at it for a strike.
But if the change isn't working, he doesn't panic. He'll go to the curveball. If the curveball isn't working, he'll go to the change. So he's really figuring out how to pitch and realizing that I don't have to have my best stuff all the time to win a ball game.
Kendrick at first. Abreu goes too far. Ball's in the dirt. It's a strike on the wild pitch. Kendrick moves up to second. Abreu went too far. Kendrick took advantage of that ball skipping away from John Buck. Once in a while, Romero will bounce that breaking ball, but this time it cost him 90 feet.
And the way this game is progressing, you would have to believe if Abreu is unable to get a base hit and drive Kendrick home, he'll make it out on the right side to move the runner.
And there it is. Ground ball to the first baseman. Overbay. Unassisted. Abreu does his job. 2 strikes. Pulls it on the right side. Advancing Howie Kendrick to third.
And you could clearly see by Abreu's approach, he was going to make sure he got around that baseball, rolled over the top of it, and moved that runner on to third. And that's what winning players do and winning teams do so well.
And you'll get the manager off his seat to come down to congratulate you. Mike Scioscia went all the way down the first base into the dugout to acknowledge the job by Abreu.
Well, managers appreciate professionalism and players that play to win.
1 out, man at third base. John Buck looks Kendrick back at third. Well, when your manager is trying to sell you on a team philosophy and then your most senior player plays like that, it really validates what you're trying to accomplish. Hideki Matsui, a ball and no strikes. Swings, lines it right at the second baseman. Broke his bat. John McDonald was there. Record the second out.
Well, Matsui, no doubt the type of hitter that will sit on a curveball, excuse me. And a pretty good wood on it. As you mentioned, it broke his bat, but lined it right to John McDonald. That's why, for me, he's, with runners in scoring position, always dangerous because he is so selective at the plate and he'll stay with his plan.
Morales takes one down for ball 1. Kendry Morales grounded back to the pitcher in the second. 2 outs here. We're in the 4th inning. No score. Strike on the outside corner. Evens the count at 1-1. Morales, always a tough hitter, really established himself last year as a good everyday run producer. Ball in the dirt, bounces to the right, but Buck keeps it close enough. And Buck kind of got his glove upside down, but knocked it down, got enough of it to keep Kendrick at third. 2 balls and a strike to Morales with Howie Kendrick at third.
John Buck almost reacted to that pitch like he was crossed up with it a little bit because he didn't use the technique that you are taught to try to keep that ball in the dirt in front of him.
Kendrick got a piece of it. 2-2 now. We're in the 4th. Only 3 hits in the game. Romero has allowed the leadoff infield hit here to Howie Kendrick in the 4th. Santana 2 doubles. Breaking ball in there for strike 3. Romero dropped the hook on Kendry Morales and caught him looking. 4 strikeouts now for Ricky Romero. Once again, that curveball gets him out of a jam. Brian Bannister against Brandon Morrow. 416-341-1234 for tickets. Log on to BlueJays.com or most Rogers Plus locations for tickets. Monday night, opener of a 3-game series against the Royals. Adam Lind takes strike 1. No score here. Jays bat bottom of the 4th. Ricky Romero, Irvin Santana with the upper hand so far. Santana for his career, making his 4th career start here at the Rogers Center. Coming into this game with a 1-2 record in Toronto. Good fastball on the corner. A lot of late finish to that pitch. It seems as though the trend is continuing here with Santana. Starters that got off to a slow start turning things around here in this series. Weaver, then Saunders, now Santana. A ball and 2 strikes on Adam Lind, leading off the 4th. Inside.
Take it, the stuff that Irvin Santana has, and when he's able to locate it like he has so far here this afternoon, it is tough for the hitters. I mean, that fastball at 92-93 has been right out there on the corner.
Up the middle, through the infield, into center base hit. Bouncing ball past the mound into center. Lead off base hit for Adam Lind.
Well, a fastball in a pretty good spot, but it was up a little bit and up enough that Adam Lind, the hitter, could see it. Didn't hit it real hard, but sometimes it's where you hit it. He bounces it right back up the middle. And he just continues to be a machine.
3rd hit for the Jays this afternoon. And at first for Vernon Wells. Wells takes a pitch outside. At the start of play today, Wells was among the leaders in many offensive categories. 6th in average, 2nd in home runs, 2nd in runs scored, and tied for 2nd in total bases. Nelson Cruz of the Rangers has 7 home runs. Scott Podsednik of the Royals, a team we'll see next, leads the American League in hitting at .439. Outside ball 2. When you get off to a good start, I guess then you can relax and have even more confidence knowing that you've got some cushion.
When you get off to a good start, everything just seems to fall into place right away. You're relaxed.
Good breaking ball in a fastball count.
Hey, you notice Santana today, if he's not right on the corner, he's missing just off the plate and not back towards the middle. So he hasn't made any mistakes so far this afternoon. And on a few of occasions when he's been behind in the count, since he was to Wells 2-0, he's able to throw that slider, something other than a fastball in a fastball count for a strike.
2 balls and a strike to Vernon Wells. Lind at first. Fisted right out in front of home. Mathis quickly to second to get the runner back to first. Not in time. Another quick athletic play by the Angels catcher Jeff Mathis out behind the plate quickly. And a snap throw to second on the money.
Mentioned earlier, it's like having a middle infielder behind the plate. He is so quick. And this is an outstanding play. Very few catchers in the game could have recorded this out at second base. But look how quickly he jumps on the ball. Athleticism, off-balance snap throw right on the money. And the relay a little late to first base. Wells having a little trouble getting out of the box.
Now Lyle Overbay. Wells gets chased back. Mathis threw that ball like a shortstop. He came out of the chute, threw off balance right on the money.
The importance of defense so often goes overlooked, but in this instance, it kept a runner out of scoring position.
Overbay drives it toward left. Juan Rivera now moving back, but he's in front of the warning track. Second out. In Santana is having the Blue Jays hitters timing just off enough to keep the ball in the air. Nobody's really driven it just yet. Bautista drove it to the base of the wall in center field. His first time up, a 2-out double. Only 3 hits allowed by Santana.
Well, Santana's only made really one mistake here this afternoon. That was to Bautista, and he doubled. The ball that Fred Lewis hit for a double inside the bag at first base was actually a pretty good pitch, a breaking ball that was down pretty good. He just went down and got it.
Fastball away. Yeah, oftentimes you see a pitcher give up a hit and you say, well, that was a mistake. But you're right, the pitch to Lewis was a good breaking ball. Santana threw it right where he wanted it. Lewis just dropped the head on it. 1 ball, no strikes on the Blue Jays third baseman, Jose Bautista.
Well, Bautista with a good eye at the plate. He's third in the major leagues with 12 walks coming into this afternoon's ball game. And even though he has yet to really start to find his groove at the plate with his swing, find his timing, still has pretty good on-base percentage.
Right on the corner again. Every time one of the hitters gets into a hitter count, Santana paints the black.
He makes a quality pitch. It's just the fact that you have Mathis behind the plate too against the opposition. You know, the base runners, potential base stealers, know that he's extremely quick and throws very well. So lots of times, you know, he'll just shut down the running game just based upon his presence behind the plate.
Bautista tried to check his swing and couldn't. 2-2 count. We're scoreless here in the 4th inning. The Angels have won the first 2 games of this 3-game series. Jared Weaver, the winning pitcher on Friday night. Joe Saunders won his first game here on Saturday afternoon. Santana still has his eye on Wells. Not a bad time for Wells to take off. A 2-2 count. Somebody has to cover the bag at second. That's going to create a hole on the infield. And if Bautista should happen to drive one in a gap, Vernon should be able to score. Not going. Ball down. He'll run now. 3-2 count, 2 outs. There goes Wells. Strike 3, inside corner. Santana threw a breaking ball to the inside corner to strike out Jose Bautista, his 4th strikeout. Ricky Romero has struck out 4 today. On the season, Romero has 20 strikeouts. Good curveball working today. We're scoreless after 4 innings here at the Skydome. And up to play Beat the Streak 2010. Pick one Major League player every day that you think will get a hit. Be the first to reach a 57-game hit streak and win $3 million. To play, visit BlueJays.com. Beat the Streak, obviously, in reference to Joe DiMaggio. Anybody that can put together a 57-game hit streak with players all around the game. Pretty interesting concept. Ricky Romero throws ball 1 to Juan Rivera.
That was a nice heave by the umpire. He fired it straight into the ground, trying to throw a ball back to Ricky Romero.
There's only one pitcher in his family, and that's his brother Randy. That's Jim Wolf behind the plate.
Here you go. What's this? What's this?
Yeah, here, take this one. Nope. Lost his release point. Randy will get on him about that one. Jim Wolf is the umpire. Randy Wolf, his brother, is the pitcher. You see, he got a little smile on his face behind us. What in the heck was that? 2 balls and no strikes to Juan Rivera. Just outside third. You know, these umpires are an awful lot like ball players in that they get on each other, too. And you know that he gets back in the locker room, they're going to give him a lot of heat about that. Jim Wolf is behind the plate. Dale Cousins, the crew chief at first. Jim Joyce at second. And Marvin Hudson is at third base. 2-1 to Rivera. Scoreless as we play here in the 5th. Swing and a base hit into center. Rivera hustling down the line, makes a big turn to first base. Wells fires it back in to stop Rivera. Leadoff base hit. Only the second hit for the Angels. They've only had 3 base runners.
Rivera's had a good series so far, and coming into this afternoon's ball game, in his last 9 games against the Jays, he's had at least 1 RBI in each contest. So kind of likes facing this Jays pitching staff.
So Jeff Mathis, the catcher, grounds it towards short. Should be 2. Gonzalez to McDonald for 1. Back to first, double play. Just like that. 6-4-3 double play. 16th double play turn by the Jays this year.
They have Alex Gonzalez starting it and John McDonald completing the double play. That's some pretty good defense you have up the middle right now here this afternoon. Good pitch by Romero. Get a ball down in the strike zone. Get that ground ball.
Brandon Wood bats with 2 out. Ball 2. Fouled straight back. You mentioned Ricky Romero early, looking very comfortable out on the mound, and he, like we've seen throughout this series from the Angel starters, grabs that ball and fires. He's ready to go.
He gets it and goes.
1 hopper. Gonzalez knocks it down, can't recover. Should be an infield hit for Brandon Wood. Gonzalez got his glove on it, knocked it down, was reaching for it, but never could find the handle.
Well, it was an infield hit, but a ball that was hit very hard. You can see Alex Gonzalez trying to give a little ground and hits him on the heel of the glove, and that first reach for it with the bare hand, he's unable to come up with it cleanly, and at that point, Wood has himself a base hit. What they call too hot to handle.
2 outs for the number 9 hitter, Reggie Willits. Fights it off, foul at the plate. Willits walked and was stranded in the 3rd. Starting in center field this afternoon in place of Torrey Hunter. Hunter had started all of the previous 12 games in center. Ball outside.
You can always tell when a pitcher's, one of the signs when a pitcher's very confident and trusts his stuff is he's not afraid of the strike zone. Even when he gets behind in the count, he's not afraid to throw a strike. And most certainly that's the case now with Ricky Romero.
The important factor is you dictate when they make contact. If you're pitching ahead, pitching aggressively, changing speeds, then the pitcher dictates when the hitter makes contact. 2 balls and a strike to the number 9 hitter, Reggie Willits. There are 2 outs here in the 5th. Inside. 3-1.
Reggie Willits is really the only hitter this afternoon that Romero's had a little trouble throwing strikes to. He walked him in his first at bat. Now he's run the count here to 3-1.
Brandon Wood almost got caught napping there. Snap throw from Romero. Strike 2. It'll be a full count to Reggie Willits. Brandon Wood, the runner at first, will be off on the pitch. 2 outs. To second base. McDonald with plenty of time. Willits retired. Ricky Romero gives up a pair of hits, but the double play behind him keeps it scoreless. John Buck, Travis Snyder, John McDonald. Saturday, May 1st, when the Blue Jays take on the Oakland Athletics at 1:07 p.m. After the game, kids 14 and under can run the bases. 416-341-1234 for tickets. BlueJays.com or most Rogers Plus locations. The surprising Oakland A's at 9-4. John Buck, first pitch swinging. Easy play for Ibar. 1 out. Let's check in with Sam Cosentino.
Well, Buck, very typical. The Angels knew that coming into this series, the Blue Jays would be aggressive early in the count. And when I spoke to Joe Saunders today, he said we had to use a variety of pitches in order to get ahead early. If you look at the starters in this series now, operating at 70% first pitch strike rate. And when you have that, you can have an awful lot of success.
And the way the Jays are swinging, that makes a lot of sense. Just be aggressive. We have talked about the fact that 3 guys in the offense basically carrying the load. And you want to be aggressive then. Don't give the other guys a lot of pitches to look at. Travis Snyder swings and fights it off down the left field.
You know, most certainly when the ball club gets Aaron Hill back, he brings something special to the offense. But they still need some guys down the line like Bautista, Overbay, Buck, Snyder. Guys start to find their strokes so that you can have some depth to that lineup, as you mentioned earlier, and put constant pressure every inning on the opposing pitcher. Right now, it's a lineup that hasn't been able to do that.
Yeah, everything's magnified early in the season. This is just the second week of the season, only the 13th game. Swinging a drive right at the first baseman. Right on the nose, but Kendry Morales was there for the second out.
Well, just tough luck on the part of Travis Snyder. He couldn't hit the baseball any harder, but unfortunately for him, right at Morales at first base.
All you can do is just keep swinging. And Cito Gaston continues to encourage his hitters. Hey, this is going to turn around. Just keep hitting the ball like that, they're going to start to fall. John McDonald with 2 outs, swings at the first pitch and hits it to the left side. Left fielder Juan Rivera. 3 up, 3 down in the 5th. Erwin Santana matching Ricky Romero pitch for pitch. Score is headed to the top of the 6th. Both Erwin Santana, the Angels starter, Ricky Romero, the Jays starter, have been great. Only 3 hits allowed by the starters, each going 5 innings. Romero's walked the batter, but they have both picked up 4 strikeouts. It's all about the pitching so far. Eric Ibar will start things off. He's 0 for 2. Takes that curveball away. Don't care how hot a club is, you get a pitcher on the mound that's hitting his spots and getting all of his pitches over, he's going to shut you down. another funny swing on a ball down and away.
Yeah, that's another reason why, we've talked about it. The good teams around the league seem to have a very good mix of power and speed, and oftentimes in a game like we're looking at here today, speed could really factor in. You get a base stealer on first, he steals second, gets himself into scoring position. Base hit scores him, because waiting around for a big inning today is probably not going to happen.
2 balls and a strike to Eric Ibar. Swing and hit on the line into center. Vernon Wells going to have to hurry to cut this off. Fred Lewis cuts it off. Here's the throw to second base, and Ibar has the leadoff double. Fred Lewis came over quickly from left field to cut that ball off and keep it from going to the gap, but Ibar has too much speed.
And the ball lined over the shortstop, Alex Gonzalez, into the gap. Pretty good job here by Freddie Lewis to cut it off, prevent it from going to the wall, but no chance to throw out Ibar, who runs very, very well. And, of course, had 2 on his mind from the moment the ball left the bat. Well, so the Angels with something going here.
A leadoff batter on for Howie Kendrick. Throw behind the runner, and again, John Buck bumps into the batter in the batter's box. John Buck was attempting to make a pickoff throw to second. Gonzalez had broken in behind the runner, and look at Buck now saying, man, I got to have some room there. Jim Wolf looking at the position of the batter, and Howie Kendrick held his ground in the batter's box. A ball and no strikes. Squares to bunt, pops it up, Overbay, and foul ground will make the play. Failure to execute, something Scioscia's team doesn't do very often.
Ironically enough, oftentimes if a guy has a real good slider or a very hard curve with a lot of bite, it's much more difficult to bunt than a fastball. And the first pitch was a curveball. This one is, and you can see he can't get on top of it. And the result is he pops up to Overbay, and a huge out here for Ricky Romero.
Overbay got a good break and made an easy play of it in foul ground. 1 down now for the veteran Bobby Abreu. Ibar at second. Late on the fastball. Well, you can see the fundamentals of that bunt. He dropped the barrel of the bat underneath the ball. Anytime you do that, you're not going to get it on the ground. Nothing good can come out of it.
And it didn't. Abreu, his first at bat today, he goes 0-2. I've seen oftentimes take a lot of pitches, which probably he does that as much as any hitter in baseball, but he gets an RBI situation once in a while. He'll jump the first one.
Is what he did there, and then takes the second one.
So he really plays a cat and mouse game with you. You get to expecting, well, he's going to take because he always does, and then he gets in a run-producing situation, and he changes his pattern. Smart hitter.
1-1 to Abreu. First, Romero will take a look at Ibar. Well, it's imperative in what you're talking about, how Abreu can change, that the veteran catcher, John Buck, makes note of that and keeps Ricky Romero ahead of the curve. We're scoreless in the 6th. Went too far.
You know you have a good curveball or an outstanding curveball. On 2 occasions this afternoon, he has made Abreu look bad with that curveball, and Abreu's always throughout his career had pretty good success against left-handed pitching. That really is an indication of how good Romero's curveball is.
Romero out in front. A ball and 2 strikes. Tried to get him to chase again. One thing we have seen from this veteran lineup time and time again throughout this series, going the opposite way with runners in scoring position. Not trying to do a lot of damage, just taking what the pitcher gives you and cashing in with runners in scoring position. Into there, blocked by Buck.
Veteran hitters always make adjustments as the game progresses, and these Angel hitters, especially the man at the plate, Abreu, Matsui, Rivera, Torrey Hunter, who's not in the lineup today, have all had some big hits in this series because they made some nice adjustments. And as you mentioned, Buck, not trying to do too much, just taking what the pitchers will give them.
3-2 to Abreu. Back to the mound. Ibar has to hold his ground. Romero retires Abreu for the second out. Not as challenging a play on that comebacker as he made earlier in the game back in the second inning, but he effectively looked Ibar back to second before he went to first. Angels now 0 for 5 on the afternoon with runners in scoring position. Quite a departure from where they were coming into this game. They were 8 for 18 to start this game. 2 outs now for Matsui. 0 for 2.
It's interesting if you look at the defensive alignment. In the outfield, everybody's straight up. On the infield, pretty much straight up, with the exception of Alex Gonzalez, who is really over almost straight up with second base, playing him clearly to pull.
Swinging a drive. Vernon Wells, long run. He's not going to catch up to it. It's off the wall. Ibar comes in to score. Matsui delivers yet another 2-out RBI. Ibar, with the leadoff double, comes in to score the first run of the game on the double by Matsui.
Well, no one does it better. This a real professional hitter and very dangerous in the RBI situation. Talked about it his first at bat this afternoon. He had a chance to drive in a run. But if you're the opposition, you do not like to see Matsui at the plate with a chance to drive in a run. Great clutch hitter.
Kenry Morales swings at the first pitch and fouls it back into the catcher.
You think at this point, Buck, the Angels aren't glad they have Hideki Matsui in that lineup?
Well, Matsui is such a good hitter. That double is his 200th career double. 7 years with the Yankees. This is his first year here with the Angels, signed as a free agent in the offseason. Morales to short. Gonzalez retires him. But a pair of doubles in the inning put the Angels out in front. Fred Lewis will try to ignite the offense. He had his first hit, a double, back in the third. from the skipper about his assessment of the most recent game. BlueJays.com for all Cito's post-game comments. Lewis with a big hack on the first pitch. Fred Lewis making his first start with the Blue Jays. Doubled in his last at bat. Hit a good pitch from Santana just inside the bag at first for a double. One nothing here, bottom of the sixth inning. Angels broke through on Hideki Matsui's career 200 double. An RBI double to center field. Out in front, he popped it up into right field. Abreu with a long run makes the catch. Howie Kendrick wasn't quite sure Abreu was going to get there, and Abreu said, I had it all the way. One down here in the sixth.
Well, Abreu with a long run to get to the ball. Get a good look at him communicating right here, letting Kendrick know that he has it. And nice job not to panic right there and catch the baseball. Yeah, sometimes players get that close together and the communication's been maybe a little bit unsure. They'll have a tendency to pull up once in a while.
Well, Kendrick did what he was supposed to do. He went out there until he heard the outfielder, and by the time he heard him, he was a little slow in putting the brakes on. One out here. Alex Gonzalez. Another pop up to right. Much easier play for Abreu this time, and there are two quick outs. Well, the theme of this series has been Angels starting pitching and veteran clutch hitting. They've gotten those starts to shut down the Blue Jays offensively, and then the veteran hitters have come through, especially with two outs.
And again here this afternoon, Matsui, and you go back to Ibar leading off with a double, and then Kendrick failed to get the bunt down. He popped up to third.
Then swings at the first pitch. Three fly ball outs. A breeze for Santana in the sixth inning. Just 6 pitches in the inning, and he took advantage of that one run. Made quick work of the Blue Jays. Brian Bannister will open it up against Brandon Morrow. On Tuesday, also at 7:07, Kyle Davies will take on the left-hander Dana Even, looking to go 3-0. And how about the matchup Wednesday afternoon? Zach Greinke against Sean Markham. Great pitching matchup on Wednesday afternoon. That'll be getaway day. 12:37 start. Juan Rivera, first pitch swinging. It's 1-0. here in the 7th. Dana Evelyn on the left, Brandon Morrow on the right. Next two starting pitchers for the Jays. Evelyn 2-0. Off to a good start. Brandon Morrow anxious to get into the win column. 0-2. Mike Scioscia made a point of resting Juan Rivera Thursday night in New York against the Yankees, so he'd have his bat in this 3-game series for all 3 of the games, and it's paid off.
It most certainly has, and maybe part of that is due to the fact that he realizes that Rivera has hit the ball club well.
Quick appeal down to first, and Cousins said he didn't go around. Well, Rivera has hit the ball well. He's homered in this series. He hit a home run in the 2nd inning in yesterday's game. Had an RBI single, little insurance run in the Friday night game in the 8th inning.
Well, and mentioned earlier, 9 RBIs, or 9 or, let me start over, Buck. 1 or more RBIs in 9 consecutive games coming into the ball game this afternoon against the Jays pitching. And you know that Mike Scioscia, his manager, fully aware of that.
Struck him out. Had a good curveball from Ricky Romero. Had Rivera out in front. 5 strikeouts now for the Jays left-hander.
Oh, you'd have to say that Ricky Romero at this point has as good a curveball as there is in the league. That is nasty. He's thrown a couple today that have just been unhittable.
And to compound the situation for hitters, you just don't see that many good curveballs. And when a pitcher has a good curveball, it's so foreign to the hitters. Jeff Mathis takes his strike.
If you go back to the 50s, 60s, the curveball was, you saw a lot of good curveballs, and then the slider kind of came in vogue in the 70s, and then you went to the split finger in the 80s. And so it's excellent point. You just don't see that type of curveball very often anymore.
1-1 to Mathis, the Angel catcher, down low. I think the shrinking strike zone has a lot to do with the lack of curveballs. When I began in the American League, the letters were truly the upper boundaries of the strike zone, and that curveball was often called. High curveballs down in the zone, all called. Mathis pops it up right side, and it's going to drift into the seats. But when the strike zone got smaller, umpires were reluctant to call that big breaking pitch, and pitchers trying to make the adjustment went to the slider, and the curveball kind of went by the wayside.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you played in the big leagues when the mound was still at 15 inches?
No, 69 was the first year they dropped it. 68 was when the mound was 15 inches tall. On the ground, Gonzalez to Overbay. Mathis is retired. 1968 was truly the year of the pitcher. It's when Gibson had a 1.12 ERA. I think the league average was like 238.
I don't know if it was in Major League Baseball, but I think that year Yastrzemski was the only hitter to hit 300. He hit 301, I believe. And I don't know if that was just in the American League or Major League, the entire Major Leagues.
Yeah, it was all about the pitchers, though. With that in mind, they dropped the mound. First pitch swinging, Brandon Wood lifts it high and deep to center. Vernon Wells runs up against the wall and makes the catch. Quick inning for Ricky Romero, looking for some help from his offense. Wells, Overbay, and Bautista will lead off bottom of the 7th. Ricky Romero has done just about everything that you could ask from a starter. He has kept the opponents to just 5 hits and a single run, but unfortunately, Irvin Santana has been a touch better. Wells at first pitch on the ground to Wood. High throw, but he gets back on the bag in time. Morales comes down on the bag. Brandon Wood retires Vernon Wells.
Well, one of the few balls that's been hit hard off of Santana this afternoon. This ball hit very hard by Wells. Nice job by Woods to go down and dig it out. A little trouble with the throw, but enough time for Morales to come back down on the bag. And, you know, Buck, Brandon Woods had he's been a little shaky with a few of his throws over to the first base. Doesn't look like he has a lot of confidence right now throwing the ball across the diamond.
Just a little tentative. He was charged with a couple of errors in yesterday's game. Santana now retired 10 straight. Lyle Overbay takes the first pitch strike.
As we were talking at the 15-inch mound, I often thought as a hitter, what would a good overhand curveball look like from 5 inches higher than the mound is right now? It'd be pretty devastating.
Overbay takes the ball. Yeah, the mound was dropped in 1969. 4 expansion teams came into baseball in 69. They dropped the mound, and of course the influx of 40 extra pitchers, certainly not necessarily major league quality pitchers, and the hitters started to get the upper hand. On the ground, first base side, Morales to Santana, 2 down. 11 straight retired by Irvin Santana.
Well, I once had a conversation with Ron Peranowski, his outstanding pitching coach for many years at the major league level, and himself a successful pitcher. And I asked him, what was the difference? What brought the offense back up and kind of equaled things out a little bit? He always, without hesitation, he said when they dropped the mound from 15 to 10 inches.
Yeah, that certainly really literally evened the playing surface. Santana misses on the first pitch to Bautista. Bautista doubled against Santana with 2 outs in the second. One of just 3 Blue Jays hits. Takes his strike. 1-0 here, bottom of the 7th inning. Third fine starting performance from the Angels in this series. Jared Weaver on Friday, Joe Saunders on Saturday, and Irvin Santana here this afternoon. A ball and 2 strikes. Inside.
Santana's also been very efficient here after 6 2/3 innings of work. That last pitch, just his 71st pitch here this afternoon. So he still has a lot left in the tank.
Bautista just a little bit up, but he got a piece of it. Santana threw 113 pitches his last time out, over 5 2/3. That was against the Yankees, and then 105 pitches in 6 innings against the Twins. Runs the count to full. Just got to believe somebody's got to get on, and that's the way the offense has been this year for the Jays. Get a walk, get a home run. Not much in between. 3-2 pitch, 2 outs here in the 7th. Outside corner. Bautista didn't think so. But Santana now has retired 13 straight Blue Jays. He leads it 1-0 through 7 innings. He's on his game. Information provided by Stats Inc. Music provided by Universal Canada. Reggie Willits takes a strike to start things off in the 8th. Willits 0 for 1 with a walk. He walked, moved into scoring position in the 3rd, but was stranded. 1-0 Angels. Romero let that breaking ball get away from him there. Scott Downs, the left-hander, starting to loosen up for the Jays.
Hey, Reggie Willits figured into yesterday's ball game with that defensive play in right field, that great throw to the plate to cut down Gonzalez.
.100 pitches on the nose for Romero. Off the plate inside. I'm not a big pitch count guy, but when a pitcher is in a scoreless game and eventually turns into a 1-0 game, every pitch has so much importance it wears on you a little more. 3-1 to Willits. Ball 4.
Yeah, that's the second time this afternoon that he's walked Reggie Willits, and his last at bat ran eventually a 3-2 count, and he grounded out to second base. So for whatever the reason is this afternoon, Romero has just had trouble throwing strikes to Willits. And you would expect here in this situation, would not be surprised that Ibar tries to bunt that runner along. That's a huge. You could pick up another run here in the top of the 8th inning, make it a 2-0 ball game. The way Santana's throwing the ball and the way that their closer Fernando Rodney has been in this series, you'd feel like you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, you can bet they're going to try to move the runner here from first. And they want to see what's going on. Bautista well in at 3rd. Overbate's got to hold Willits close. He can't break until Romero unloads the pitch. $1-0 Angels. Ibar squares, takes it. John Buck can't handle it, but Reggie Willits couldn't see where the ball was to determine whether or not he had a chance to move up.
Well, John Buck ended up between Reggie Willits and the baseball, and as you said, he couldn't find it. So after hesitating, made the right decision not to try to move on down to second base. And again, it almost appears as if John Buck was crossed up by that pitch. In trouble handling it cleanly.
A ball and no strikes. Bautista in at 3rd. Pushed up the first base line. Romero looks at second. No play there. Gets Ibar. Ricky Romero had a thought about second, but Willis got a good break. He had no play. They moved the insurance run into scoring position. Great execution by Eric Ibar.
You're talking about the importance of every pitch in a close ball game. So what you're alluding to is that sometimes a guy can go out there and throw 120, 125, and he's pretty comfortable. He can go that far, no problem. But in a game like today, where the importance, the focus and the effort that goes into every pitch, maybe 105 or 110 is enough.
It'll wear you out. Howie Kendrick. Big cut and a miss. Willits with good speed at second. Kendrick has had a good series. 3 for 5 in yesterday's game. A 2-run home run and an RBI single in the 9th.
You definitely don't want to forget about Willits at second base.
Curveball in there. 0-2. Reggie Willits at second, 1 out. Romero wants a new set of signs. A ball and 2 strikes. Romero pitched a similar game in his first start of the season against the Rangers, allowed just 1 run through 7 innings. And Rick stays alive. Pitchers understand when offenses are struggling, and Romero, you see what's going on around you, and there haven't been a lot of runs scored recently, so he understands the importance. He's not going to complain about it, but he's well in tune to the fact that Ervin Santana's on his game and not a lot of offense so far. In the dirt, blocked, and Willis has to hold his ground.
Well, you know that right now he realizes the importance of that runner at second base if the Angels were to be able to somehow score another run here in this inning. Romero knows it's going to be tough to score a couple of 3 runs off of Santana and possibly Fernando Rodney late in this ball game.
Kendrick strikes out. Umpire indicates the strikeout. John Buck might have had a foul tip, but he tagged Kendrick. Another good pitch from Romero.
And he really pitched Kendrick tough. Dropped a couple of very good curveballs on him. And this last pitch looked like a changeup with some good late downward movement to him. Clearly fooled Kendrick. He recognized it as a fastball and it disappeared on him. And that's showing maturity as a pitcher right there. Great pitch sequence in a very important time in this ball game.
2 outs now. Abreu with a runner in scoring position. Swings at the first pitch, right side. McDonald with the bobble, but he's got plenty of time, and Ricky Romero strands another base runner. A leadoff walk, but nothing more. Romero trails it by 1, looking for some offensive help.
The Jays on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Well, Cito Gasser with a pat on the back. That generally indicates the pitcher is done for the day. Ricky Romero trails Ervin Santana by a run. 1-0 here. Bottom of the 8th inning.
Well, it is early. If it were in September and it was a pennant race, I think you'd see Romero come back out. But another outstanding outing. 8 innings, just the 1 run allowed by Ricky Romero this afternoon.
John Buck needs to get on base. 2-0. On the ground to third. 1 out. 14 straight retired by Ervin Santana. hasn't been a base runner since Vernon Wells hit a fielder's choice last hit. Only the third hit came back in the fourth inning, a leadoff single to center by Adam Lynn. 5 strikeouts for Santana. Santana has allowed only 3 Jays hits. Santana has retired 13. I misspoke. 2 balls and no strikes. Swinging a high fly ball to center. Santana is breezing. Still just a 1-run game. One swing of the bat can change that. Charles Snyder just got under it. With 2 outs, it'll be a pinch hitter for John McDonald. Cito Gaston will send up Randy Ruiz. Ruiz has a home run. That came in this series opener. An 8th inning leadoff home run off Jared Weaver.
May be exactly why Cito Gaston's using Randy Ruiz in this situation. Realizing the chances of putting 3 or 4 hits together against Santana not very good. You're working with 4 outs, 1 more here in the 8th, and then of course 3 in the bottom of the 9th. So maybe you can strike quickly.
Breaking ball for strike 1. That's exactly what you don't want to see as a pinch hitter. The pitcher with that first pitch breaking ball for a strike. Came back right with it.
Yesterday afternoon, Joe Saunders threw Randy Ruiz a steady diet of off-speed pitches. And that's all he has seen here in this at-bat so far. On the few occasions when they have thrown a fastball to Randy Ruiz, it's been after they've thrown 3, 4 breaking balls, something off speed, and then they've tried to come back hard inside on his hands. There's Joe Saunders.
A ball and 2 strikes on the pinch hitter Randy Ruiz. Hit to center. Willis retreats, and now he's camped under it. Another 3 up, 3 down inning for Irvin Santana. 1-0 after 8 innings. Ricky Romero is done. It'll be left-hander Scott Downs to pitch tonight. Pitching Line brought to you by MLB 10, the show, only on PlayStation.
Ricky Romero outstanding again this afternoon. Just that 1 earned run. Threw a lot of strikes again. 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. Mike McCoy in at second base for John McDonald, who was pinch hit for by Randy Ruiz. But unfortunately for Romero and the Jays, he has been, Irvin Santana, I should say, has been just one pitch better than Ricky Romero.
Only one run in the game, and Scott Downs will work to Matsui to start the ninth. In there for a strike.
And with those 6 strikeouts, Ricky Romero now tied with Jared Weaver for the league lead with 21.
Matsui, the only RBI of the game, came with 2 outs in the 6th inning. Had a double to center field, knocking home Eric Ibar, who had doubled himself to start the inning.
And you know that made Howie Kendrick feel a lot better after popping up the sacrifice bunt attempt. Matsui really picked his teammate up with that 2-out hit.
Well, Kendrick just got underneath and popped it up, but that's what this Angels team is all about, picking one another up. And we have seen clutch hitting from the veterans, Abreu, Hunter, Matsui, Rivera, all throughout this series.
And when you have that type of veteran leadership, it really, everybody else around them just plays so much more relaxed, because you know that no matter what happens, these guys somehow are going to figure out a way to get it done.
2-2 pitch to the leadoff hitter here in the ninth, Hideki Matsui. Fights it off. Well, the team generally takes on the personality of your star players. You get star players that do it the right way and play hard all the time, everybody else is going to fall right in line. That little guy up in Boston, Dustin Pedroia, has got 5 home runs already. And he kind of drags everybody right along with him. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We're in the ninth. 1-0 Angels. 3-2. Ricky Romero was outstanding again. 8 innings of 5 hit ball, allowing only the RBI double to Matsui for the only run of the game. Romero gave up those 5 hits, walked a couple, and struck out 6. To center field. Wells is not going to get this one. One bounce out of the ballpark. Again, Matsui driving the ball to the opposite power alley. His second double of the afternoon. A ground rule double, and he'll give way to the pinch runner.
Pretty much the same spot he doubled to in his last at bat. And you saw the numbers against Scott Downs, and he just continues to pound the baseball against a pretty good left-handed pitcher.
Mike Napoli will pinch run for Matsui at second base.
It always seems like the left-handed hitters that have success against left-handed pitching, there's no give to that front side. It really stays closed, and they don't fly off the baseball. And that bat stays in that hitting zone. They really extend through it extremely well.
Matsui, one of the best at hitting left-handed pitching. Henry Morales takes a ball. Now goes the opposite way, right through the legs of Lyle Overbay. Into right. Here comes the base runner Napoli around. The throw is late, and on the throw, Morales moves in to second. On the ground, Morales hit it sharply, but it was right at Overbay. And it literally went right through his legs, and the pinch runner, Mike Napoli, scores from second.
First of all, this is a good job by the hitter Morales to hit the ball to the right side to move the runner. Overbay just didn't get the gate lowered enough, and then to compound that, Snyder probably with a throw that he shouldn't have made, and that allowed the base runner to move into second base and into scoring position again. Needed to hit that cutoff man to prevent that from happening.
error on the first baseman Overbay has allowed Morales to get all the way to second base. Rivera hits. Still nobody out here in the ninth. 2-0 now. Angels. Inside. Santana with a little bigger cushion now. Boy, he's been efficient as well. Pitch count well within reason. He's allowed but 3 hits today. 1-1 pitch to Rivera. Swing and just outside third. Two runs on 6 hits and no errors for the Angels. No runs on 3 hits and 1 error for the Blue Jays. Angels are batting in the ninth. Scott Downs in relief of Ricky Romero. Romero went 8 strong innings, while Overbay couldn't make a play on that hot shot off the bat of Morales. It's allowed the second run to score here in the ninth. Breaking ball sliced into the seats. One thing we have seen throughout this series, the veteran hitters in this lineup not afraid to go opposite field, change their entire approach, just real defensive swings, especially with 2 strikes.
Well, they've done all the things that you have to do to win, and that's when they are called upon to move a runner, they move the runner. When you have an opportunity to get a big hit, they've been able to do that. You combine that with good pitching, and you got to have a winning recipe.
1-2 inside corner. He got it. Scott Downs paints the inside corner on Juan Rivera, first out of the inning.
Well, after a steady diet of breaking balls, he definitely had Rivera set up for something hard in. And this just great execution by Downs, knee high, right on the inside corner.
Now there's 1 out for the catcher, Jeff Mathis. Morales at second. Mathis takes a strike, and let's check in with Sam Cosentino.
Well, Buck, one more thing that's been evident in this series. You go back to Friday night, 3 add-on runs in the 8th inning, a run in each in the 8th of the 9th for the Angels yesterday, and here another add-on run has really put the nail in the Blue Jays' coffin in this series.
Well, this Angel lineup understands the value of those extra runs, just tacking on late inning runs. Big swing from Matheson.
Friday night in the 8th, they added 3. Yesterday in the 8th and 9th, they scored a run in each inning. And the Jays played some catch-up baseball. They got within striking distance on Friday night and yesterday, but those tack-on runs late are killers.
0-2 pitch to Mathis. Just inside. Well, and that's what this entire Angel team understands, and they've been to the postseason 6 of Mike Scioscia's 10 years. And that really validates what you're trying to preach, and that, hey, you do the little things and we'll win games. So everybody buys in. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Ball in the dirt, blocked by Buck.
You know, it's just demoralizing when, if you fight your way back into a ball game, and then you turn right around and allow the opposition to add on, and it really, oftentimes, it'll take a lot of wind out of your sails, so to speak.
Mathis drives it toward the gap in left center. That's going to get down and go all the way to the wall. Here comes Morales around third. He'll score. Mathis, big turn around second. He puts on the brakes, but Mathis adds a second run here in the 9th inning with his second double of the season, 3rd RBI.
Scott Downs trying to get the fastball in, and he leaves it out over the plate, and Mathis drives it hard into left center. And with his defensive ability, the way he's swinging the bat right now is just a plus.
Well, both catchers have had a good series so far. Happily did a good job with Saunders yesterday, and Mathis has had 2 good games. Brandon Wood takes the first pitch down. Wood had an infield single in the 5th inning. It's also struck out and popped up. 3-0 Angels. 2 insurance runs coming here in the 9th. Well, you mentioned the Angels, and that's what you're going to get when you play these upper echelon teams. You're going to get teams that continue to try to add on runs. The Angels are going to be just like what the Jays will face over the weekend down in Tampa Bay with the Rays. There goes the base runner, and he steals third base. Mathis took advantage of Downs not stopping him and picks up his 2nd stolen base of the season.
If you let your guard down, they're going to take advantage of it. They're looking every opportunity to take advantage, move up, steal a base, make something happen. They force the action.
Infield's in. The runner's coming to the plate. There's the throw from Gonzalez, and John Buck tags out Jeff Mathis. Wood hit it right at the shortstop with a drawn-in infield, and John Buck tagged out Mathis.
Well, a nice play by Gonzalez, the shortstop. Comes and gets the baseball and a quick snap throw to the plate, and a good job on the back end by John Buck to block the plate and apply the tag. You see him come and get it right there, and then the snap throw. And Mathis was a dead duck.
You can see that's the contact play. You're going on contact, and Mathis never hesitated. 2 outs now, but the Angels have tacked on 2 more runs here in the 9th.
Something that the Angels have done in this series that the Jays have not is they've had contribution up and down that lineup. Everybody's contributing in this series. And we talked about, the Jays really only have about 3 guys in the lineup swinging it real well, and you don't have any depth in your lineup, and it's tough to put constant pressure on the opposition and have a chance to score every inning as opposed to maybe every 3rd inning. That hasn't been the case with the Angels here in this series.
Tap to first. Overbay retires Willits. But the Angels had 2 here in the 9th inning. Irvin Santana has been outstanding today, looking to finish it off in the 9th. Tune in. Join Jamie Campbell right after the game. Fred Lewis will start the ninth. Takes a strike. Irvin Santana, just 3 hits allowed here this afternoon. Inside. 1-1. Santana has thrown 3 hit complete games twice before in his career, most recently last August 11th against Tampa Bay. That's the lowest hits he's allowed in a complete game. Just 87 pitches for Santana here this afternoon. 2-2. Fred Lewis making his first start as a Blue Jays left fielder here today. He is 1 for 3 with a double and a stolen base. Trying to get it going here in the ninth. Full count. Fernando Rodney beginning to loosen up for the Angels down in the bullpen, and he has 2 saves in this series already.
And has yet to allow a base runner. Worked in Friday and Saturday's games.
Big swing and a miss by Lewis. Santana picks up the strikeout, his 6th this afternoon.
Well, the Angels head home this afternoon after the ball game, and if they hang on and win this one the way that Weaver, Saunders, and Santana pitched in this series, they have to go home. They would leave on a high note and have to feel very good about themselves. Big series coming up in Detroit, followed by the Red Sox.
One out for Alex Gonzalez, and he falls behind, a ball and 1 strike.
So they have to feel like things are finally starting to settle in and fall into place for them.
Breaking ball in there, strike 2. It has been a familiar theme for Jays hitters all afternoon. Strike 1, strike 2. Santana has pounded the strike zone. Pop up. Right side. Howie Kendrick. 2 down.
Well, Santana has not allowed a walk this afternoon, and only 3 hits. He's been almost all but about perfect here this afternoon. When you take that type of stuff and combine it with the type of command that he's had this afternoon, it'll be a tough opponent.
Adam Lynn takes the ball outside. 2 outs here. Jays down by 3. Lynn's had 1 of the 3 hits. There's a strike. Pulled foul. A ball and 2 strikes. Well, we had talked about the Angels when they came into town on Friday with their pitching staff struggling a bit. We haven't seen any of that. But when a team has a track record, sooner or later they're going to find their spot. Jared Weaver got it going on Friday. Ball low. 2-2.
And they've swung the bat. The bats have come alive. Had some life in this series. Especially with 2 outs, they've been outstanding. 2 out RBIs, runners in scoring position.
Two pitch to Adam Lynn. He stays alive. The balance of the attack is been spread out all over. Howie Kendrick yesterday had a big offensive day. Hideki Matsui with a couple of key hits, 2 out RBIs. Friday night, the Angels had 5 2-out ribbies. Fouled it off that right knee.
Matsui most certainly has been a huge factor in this game. He doubled with 2 out to drive in the Angels' first run in the 6th, and then in the top of the 9th led that inning off with a double to left center, and they would go on to tack on a couple of insurance runs.
Ouch. Right inside that right knee. Still taking a moment to try to regroup. Matsui with the game-winning RBI. Basically, if the score holds up, he drove in that first run in the 6th inning with an opposite field double. Full count. Santana looking for his 5th career shutout. Adam Lind stays alive. And Santana has done it with a wicked combination of moving fastballs and a tight-breaking slider.
And the few occasions that he's been behind are in a fastball count today. He's used that slider very effectively. You either just get a strike or to finish a hitter off, and there 3-2 to Adam Lind. Threw him a slider.
Hit hard and deep to right field. Abreu can do nothing but watch it sail into the seats. Home run, Adam Lind. The Jays are on the board. 3rd home run of the season for Adam Lind.
The pitch before a 3-2 pitch was a slider, and he was able to fight it off. They go back to it again. They doubled up on it, and not a good idea to a hitter like Adam Lind. So you might fool me once, but not twice.
High and deep into the 2nd deck, and that'll take some of the sting out of that knee that he fouled the ball off on. Vernon Wells with 2 outs. Jays still trail by 2.
And again, it's a little redundant, but you go back to the 2 runs that they scored in the top of the 9th. Otherwise, we have a tie ball game.
Well, that's just the way this series has played out. 3 runs in the 8th on Friday. Jays answered with a poor spot of their own. Wells takes a wide one. 2 balls and a strike. 2 outs here in the 9th. Adam Lind with his 3rd home run of the season. Busted up the shutout for Irvin Santana. Wells a drive to center, but right at Reggie Willits. So the Jays break through against Santana, but he gets the upper hand. The final lap, he wins it here.